Adam alayhi salam. The lonesome existence of Adam alayhi salam and Hawa on earth soon changed with the arrival of their children. Their family began with the blessing of twins, Cain, Kabeel, and his sister. As time passed, they welcomed another set of twins, Abel, Habeel, and his sister. The children grew, and the family enjoyed a humble life with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ample blessings. Kabeel cultivated the land, whereas Habeel reared the cattle. Part of Adam, alayhi salam, and Hawa's expulsion to earth was with the aim of populating the land with dutiful humans who worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thus, when the children reached marriageable age, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to Adam alayhi salam to marry each son to the other's twin sister. There was, after all, no other family in existence besides Adam's alayhi salamu family. Adam alayhi salam did as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed. While Habeel was ready to follow Allah's subhanahu wa ta'ala command, Kabeel was not too pleased. Whilst Habeel was known for his intelligence, obedience, and readiness to obey the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Kabeel was arrogant, selfish, and disobedient to his Lord. Kabeel was unhappy with the command as, according to him, Habeel's twin sister was not as pleasing to the eye as his own. He defied Allah's subhanahu wa ta'ala command as he refused to accept his father's advice. Adam alayhi salam was in a quandary. He was uncertain as to what needed to be done, so he called out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking his assistance. Thus, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded that each son offer a sacrifice in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he would favor the son whose sacrifice he accepted. While Habeel offered his best lamb to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Kabeel offered his worst harvest. Therefore, naturally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted Habeel's offer, whilst Kabeel's disobedience towards Allah's subhanahu wa ta'ala command and his insincerity in his offering caused his plea to be rejected. Enraged, Kabeel said to his brother, "I will kill you." Surah Maida, Ayah 27. Habeel responded calmly, "Allah only accepts the offering of the sincerely devout. If you raise your hand to kill me, I will not raise mine to kill you, because I fear Allah, the Lord of all worlds. I want to let you bear your sin against me, along with your other sins, then you will be one of those destined to the fire. And that is the reward of the wrongdoers." Surah Al-Ma'idah 27. Habeel was principled in his response. He was not fazed by his brother's threats, but he made certain that he reminded his brother not to stray from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first murder. The hatred that Kabeel had towards his brother outweighed all other forms of familial bonds and emotions. The fear of Allah's subhanahu wa ta'ala punishment also failed to arise in his mind. As expected, Kabeel did not heed his brother's warnings. He struck Habeel with a stone and killed him in an instant. This was the first death and murder in the history of humankind. As time passed and Habeel did not return home, Adam alayhi salam began worrying. He began to look for his son, but found no trace. When he inquired about Habeel's whereabouts, Kabeel stated that he was not his brother's keeper nor protector. It didn't take Adam alayhi salam long to realize that his beloved Habeel was no more. Adam alayhi salam was consumed with grief. Having murdered his brother, Kabeel was unsure what needed to be done with Habeel's body. He wandered all over, pondering how he could hide the body from his family. As his anger slowly subsided, Kabeel began to feel remorse for his brother and was overcome with guilt. In a bid to retain the dignity of the deceased, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused Kabeel to witness the death and burial of two crows. Cain watched as the crow used its claws and beak to dig a hole in the earth, push the carcass into it, and cover it with sand. Then Allah sent a crow searching, i.e., scratching, in the ground to show him how to hide the disgrace of his brother. He said, "O woe to me! Have I failed to be like this crow and hide the disgrace, i.e., body of my brother?" And he became of the regretful. Surah Maida, Ayah 31. Adam, alayhi salam, lost both his sons and was overwhelmed with grief. Habeel was murdered while Kabeel was under the spell of the devil. He made dua for his son and went on to carry out the duties expected of him. He continued to warn his children and grandchildren of Iblis and constantly reminded them to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not be among those who disobeyed him. Adam alayhi salam. Death. One day, Adam alayhi salam, who was gravely ill, said to his children, "My children, indeed I feel an appetite for the fruits of paradise." Intent on fulfilling their father's request, the children set out to gather the fruits of paradise. On their way, they met with some angels who carried with them Adam's alayhi salam shroud and other materials required for the preparation of a body for burial. The angels instructed the children of Adam to hasten home as their father was about to meet his end soon. So, the children returned home with the angels. Upon arrival, the angels took Adam's alayhi salam soul. They prepared him for the funeral, wrapped him in the shroud, dug his grave, and laid him in it. They told the children of Adam, "Children of Adam, this is your tradition at the time of death." Following the death of Adam alayhi salam, his son Seth alayhi salam succeeded him. He too was made a prophet and was tasked with the duty of guiding people to the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.